It's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now, the first thing I'm going to tell you is I do think going from the S23 Ultra to the S24 Ultra, it's actually a pretty big difference. There's some improvements you're getting really all over the place, but a big thing to keep in mind is that the S23 Ultra has gone down in value so much that it might just make more sense to go ahead and buy a phone like that rather than buying this device. So keep that in mind. Not the biggest deal in the world, but that is kind of one advantage of going for the S23 Ultra. If you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get that from there, and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, we are getting a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display. Now, it's a pretty good panel. I thought this panel was really good when it first came out, and it's still an excellent panel. It's 1440p, 120Hz, and by far, it is an excellent panel that I'm a massive fan of for sure. Is it perfect? No, but it's pretty close to being perfect. I mean, it's a big, massive panel. You're getting these curved edges or the curved glass, which is another really cool advantage of this phone. And overall, I will definitely tell you I'm a big fan of this particular device. And from the exterior standpoint, it definitely gets a thumbs up from me. Now with the S24 Ultra, it's a little bit of a different display this year. So it's a 6.8-inch dynamic LTPO AMOLED display. So it's slightly different already from just the way the type of panel it is. But still 1440p, still 120Hz. But you are now getting 2600 nits of brightness. That's a massive improvement. I mean, that's almost 1000 nits of brightness more on the S24 Ultra than from the S23 Ultra. And that right there is a very big difference. And I, for one, when I look at a device like this, I'm ecstatic, however you say it. I'm very happy with the way Samsung went ahead and approached this particular panel. So that right there is another big advantage from my personal standpoint on the S24 Ultra. On top of that, this may or may not be an advantage depending on how you look at it, but with the S24 Ultra, you are getting a flat display. Personally, for me, I like having a flat display. I think it looks very good, and it's just, a really cool, thing going on for this particular phone. The S23 Ultra is this curved glass. So with the S23 Ultra, you're going to have to keep this in mind. If you like a curved glass or a flat display, that may change your, outlook on both of these phones. I think they're both great and I like both of them, but you're definitely going to be getting a phone that has a little bit of a better display overall on the S24 Ultra than on the S23 Ultra. Both of them have USB Type-C ports on the bottom. They both have SIM card slots, which is great, and they both have S Pens. So S Pens are amazing. You can just plug and play with the stylus. It's a very cool thing. I've always liked S Pens, and I'm very happy that these phones still have this type of capability as of this day and age. On the backside, you're basically getting this frosted glass back on both, which feels very, very premium. I would say the S24 Ultra feels a little bit more like boxy in a way, with the S23 Ultra feels a little bit more like, like curved on the sides a little bit. Because the S24 Ultra has a little bit more of a flat side to it, it kind of has a better looking, design to it, I think, in some ways. But both of them feel and look very good. And if you just look at these phones on the backside, you probably would not be able to tell which phone is which. They both look very, very similar. And I think from that specific perspective, you're really not missing out on too much because both these phones have they're both very similar on the backside. So from that perspective alone as well, it definitely gets a thumbs up for me. And overall on the outside, both these phones are amazing. They have wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, have IP certification. You have a lot of good stuff going on for both of these phones. And once again, I'm a big, massive fan of the way Samsung approached both of these devices. So from that perspective, it definitely gets a thumbs up for me. Now from the camera side of things, it's very interesting. The cameras are kind of almost the same thing on both. There's slight differences. So with the Galaxy S20, both of them, you're getting 200 megapixel wide-angle lens. The periscope telephoto lens is the only difference in terms of megapixels. The S23 Ultra had a 10 megapixel one. The S24 Ultra has a 50 megapixel one. And then the rest are 10 megapixel telephoto, then 12 megapixel ultra-wide sensors. I feel like Samsung could improve the ultra-wide sensor a little bit more, increase the megapixel count. But even that, it's not even that big of a deal. And they both have 12 megapixel wide-angle lenses on the front, 4K at 60 on the front and the back. But you are getting 8K capability on the back of both of them as well, which is another really cool advantage for both these devices. So personally for me, once again, I will tell you the S23 Ultra, a very, very good performing device. It's a very good performing phone from the camera standpoint. And realistically speaking, no matter what you're going to do on that particular device, you're probably going to have an excellent time on that camera. From what I've seen personally, I've had a really good time with this, specific camera, and you can take really good photos and videos, and really everything across the board is going to be excellent on this type of device. And that's something I actually like a lot about this type of phone, because you can actually go ahead and just buy this phone and have a really, really good camera. So that right there definitely gets a thumbs up for me without a doubt. On top of that, I would say the S24 S24 Ultra is better for sure. Like you're getting, I guess, a better camera, but I don't think you're really going to notice it in like a crazy way. I think there may be some like specific Galaxy, S24 Ultra features that Samsung brought, but even that, like I'm not even 1000% too sure. Like they're very similar in terms of like everything across the board. So I will tell you from a camera standpoint, you're probably not even missing out on that much either. So even from a, going from the S23 Ultra to the S24 Ultra, from the camera side, I don't really think it'd be a reason why I'd go and upgrade, to be completely honest, but that's not a bad thing either. I genuinely feel like you're getting a really, really good phone on something like the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and the S23 Ultra. But the advantage of the S24 Ultra too, from the camera side, last thing, is that they did say that Snapchat and TikTok and Instagram, those particular applications may give you a better, performance in the newer phones. So keep that in mind, but regardless, very good phones between both. In terms of software and longevity, this was another interesting thing. So between both, I'll definitely tell you the S24 Ultra is going to be the one lasting longer. The S23 Ultra is still supported with software. It's going to be supported for like the next 4 years probably. The S24 Ultra is going to be lasting 7 years. So from now on, every Samsung phone I think that Samsung is making for their main flagship, they're actually going to be giving us massive improvements in the software longevity. So that is a very big reason, probably the biggest reason why I would probably recommend people to buy something like the Galaxy S24 Ultra. That's a very big improvement. You're almost like doubling the amount of software longevity on that device. And that in and of itself is probably, once again, one of my most favorite things going on for that particular phone. So if I'm about to go ahead and buy some sort of device, if I'm buying something like the S24 Ultra, I'm going to be getting a phone that's going to be lasting so long, it's not even funny. So that right there is one of the biggest advantages for that device, without a doubt. Now on top of that, with the, performance side, this is, still a big difference too. So with the Galaxy S23 Ultra, you're getting the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset inside with 8 gigs of RAM on the base model, but it does go up to 12. With the S24 Ultra, you're getting that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset inside, but you're now basically spec'd out at 12 gigs of RAM on all of them. So there's not a 16 gig of RAM option, which I found kind of weird a little bit, but you're still getting the 12 gig of RAM option, which is still very good, and that's now the base model. So from a performance side, you're getting a very, very good performing device from everything that I've seen on both these devices, which is very good. Now with the S23 Ultra, this was probably one of the best performing phones of last year, and it's still an excellent performing device. I think this phone knocked it out of the park last year, and I genuinely do think if you're going to go ahead and buy any sort of device, you're going to be getting a really, really good performing device in every single way on this type of phone, rather than even older phones that came out before this, which is kind of obvious. The thing I like a lot about the S23 Ultra though, was that it was just very easy to use, and the fact that it's gone down in value so much makes it a very good performing, phone for the price. I think the S24 Ultra is a better improvement in some ways, but I genuinely don't think if you're going from an S23 Ultra to an S24 Ultra, you're probably not going to notice that big of a difference, and you're probably going to be getting very, very good, performance on that type of device too, which is also very important. So to kind of sum it up, what I'll tell you is, I think both these phones are great. I think the S24 Ultra was amazing, and I think the S23 Ultra was a very, very good phone as well. I genuinely do think though, if you have the money, probably going to the S24 Ultra, it might be a smart choice for a majority of people. I think that is the phone I'd recommend a majority of people to buy, and it makes more sense to buy that phone than pretty much any other phone right now. But if you want to save a lot of money, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, getting a used S23 Ultra might make a lot more sense. That phone does not cost that much anymore. It's substantially cheaper, and you're getting a phone that, is a very good device in pretty much every single way that doesn't cost that much. And I mean, it still costs a couple $100s, but it's going to be a better value per dollar than the S24 Ultra. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.